There's more! I'm back! CGI shit!
I rest my case.
It was fucking horrible!
Haha! Not even my audience is a match for the limited edition double-edged lightsaber from Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace. Alright, enough of that. Yeah, this is actually my Ultimate Effects lightsaber from when the 3D re-release happened. So, over a decade ago. So, yeah guys, what is happening? It's BigJackFilms here. Welcome to another opening night. This camera angle is absolutely terrible. Hold on, there we go. Yeah, welcome to another opening night, and, again, we're in a weird time. It feels like 1999 all over again, but here we are, with a surprising hit at the box office. I'm recording this on May 6th, or as we call it, Revenge of the 6th, but that film won't be till next year, probably, given this re-release is doing so well. But yes, we are here to briefly talk about, for your opening night pleasure, Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace, is back in theaters 25 years later. The second re-release, actually, surprisingly enough, not in 3D, and there's been a lot of different opinions about this one. It was #1 at the box office. It's still in theaters doing good money. Made $14 million, I think, which isn't too bad. But I'm going to be very brief about this review because, oddly enough, so for those who don't know, I have covered the original Star Wars trilogy as part of the Star Wars Saga reviews back in 2018. Right after The Last Jedi came out. And Star Wars opinions were a little bit interesting back then. And after that actually did surprisingly well, I told myself, okay, we're going to do the prequel trilogy next. I had set that up. We started production in 2019. And then COVID happened, and we're still working on it. And we're still hoping to get it out this year. Maybe. I don't know. We'll have to see. But it's coming. It's getting pretty close. It's going to be one of the big priorities this year. So because of that, me covering episodes 1, 2, and 3, I have to be pretty vague about my overall opinions on the Phantom Menace in general with the prequels. And just give you guys sort of an overrun of how I feel about the film right now after seeing it. I did see it with Honey Bear, my girl, Nikita, who came with me, and I guess I could talk with briefly my overall, like, experience seeing it again. This one was pretty exciting. It was actually really fun to go back and watch this again. It was a week after The Mummy, and, ironically enough, and I had gotten the tickets in advance, and we got to the theater. We actually got there relatively early, and we actually saw the previous screen come out, and it had a bunch of Star Wars cosplayers. There was a couple Padmes, there was a couple Obi-Wans, a Darth Maul, a lot of Jar Jars at this, which was interesting. But yeah, it was. We went to a later showing. We went to about the 10 o'clock show. Surprisingly packed. Just for those who don't know, I did see the re-release back in 2012 in 3D before Disney bought Lucasfilm, and just in comparison to the re-releases, when I went opening night, same theater mind you, to see Phantom Menace in 3D, my theater was practically empty. It was like maybe me and 15 other people in a packed house theater and on opening night. And I had a good time watching it then. And then we have this one, which is drastically different. Packed house. Actual packed house for the Phantom Menace, minus the front row. But it was a huge audience for that. And what's funny is that everybody surprisingly had a good time. It's funny because Phantom Menace has garnished the reputation as the biggest disappointment of all time because, 15 years in between episode 6 and episode 1, waiting for the next movie, and then it was a big disappointment, and all the flaws, and the Mr. Plinkett review, and so on. But 25 years later, it's starting to gain a reputation as not a bad movie. And I overall had a good time with this. I've always been a defender of the Phantom Menace to a degree, which gives you a mild spoiler of what I'm going to say in my opinions. But it's a very entertaining film. It's a very practical film, and it still has some great moments. Like, this is probably I think out of all the prequels, still my favorite of the three to a degree. But again, I'll talk about those when I get to my review of the Phantom Menace at some point. But just seeing it with a big audience was really fun. Everybody was laughing. Everybody was having a good time when the lightsaber moments happened, when the action scenes happened. There was a lot of cheering. The fight with Darth Maul at the end. Everybody was going crazy for that again. I felt like how I did when I saw the film back in '99 at 7 years old. Here I am at 32. Man. And, it was still, I felt like a 7-year-old again. I think that's the one thing I love about seeing the Phantom Menace in re-released is I get to feel like a 7-year-old kid again. And a 7-year-old kid excited for the new Star Wars movie, and on top of that, made my first movie at the same time of this film when it came out. And it was just something that is grained into my brain for all time, is that the year of '99, the year of the Phantom Menace. So to get that sort of reflection of nostalgia 25 years later, it is pretty nice to have, all things considered. But what about the movie itself? Does it have its merits? I'll say this, is that I think it's kind of aged like a nice wine. There is stuff in this film that actually surprisingly is a little better watching it years later. There's stuff in it, you're like, wow. Like, this is intricate stuff. This is interesting stuff. We looked past it because we wanted the laser action adventure, and this is a very much a world-building film. The whole prequels are world-building. I can relate the prequel trilogy and the Phantom Menace especially to the equivalent of Legend of Zelda: Link to the Past, because you have the first two Zelda games, at least the first three, Link's Awakening I'm going to count in there, that are just the simple adventure games. And then Link to the Past, which is the next-gen console that released at the time, technically is kind of Zelda 3 for a lot of people, is actually not just a prequel, but goes through for the first time the entire world of Hyrule, and explains how things work. It tells you, okay, you've been on the adventure in the first two games, now let's tell you the backstory of how everything works so you can enjoy the game and the world even more. That's the Phantom Menace. It's Link to the Past, and I think people overlook that opinion of it. But that's how I feel about it, is that it's got some better stuff in it. I can look at it through sort of new lens. I can look at things like Jar Jar. He actually got a little funnier as I got older. He's actually a little bit more funny. I actually was laughing along with this guy. Jake Lloyd, I can now look at his acting a tad better in a better light. The action set pieces, the practical effects, the real locations, there's stuff in this I can enjoy. I mean, granted, there's things that kind of haven't held up. Some of the effects are a little wonky, digitally especially. Jar Jar in some shots, oof, hasn't aged too well, and even some of the animatronics on the Viceroy, the Trade Federation, ooh, has not held up either. Now, I should point out too, yes, this is the special edition that was first seen on the DVD of The Phantom Menace. This is not the theatrical cut that most people have forgotten about. I've heard about this thing called 4K 99, which is a 35mm digital HD transfer of the Phantom Menace theatrical run. I want to get my hands on it. I want to watch it and just see the difference in quality, because I'm one of those people who I want to watch. I'm a sort of a purist. I want to watch the theatrical prints. So I gotta get my hands on a good copy of Phantom Menace, because the only thing I got is the widescreen VHS edition. But to the point, and then the music by John Williams is great, and we did get a preview for the Disney Plus show, The Acolyte. I think I'm pronouncing that right. I think it's okay. I think it looks good. I think it looks fun and entertaining. I'm not as nitpicky about Star Wars as most people are. I've enjoyed Star Wars my whole life. Whether good or bad, it's still entertainment for me. But I don't know, I thought it was cool that was an exclusive you could see when you see it in theaters. You see an exclusive scene from The Acolyte, and it looks okay. It looks fine. Very Knights of the Old Republic in a way. I don't know. I'll have to see when it comes out. I don't have a Disney Plus account, so I have to find a way to watch it some other way. But overall, Phantom Menace, it's still in theaters for a couple more days. I would actually recommend going to see this, because if this does well, which it has, we're probably going to be seeing the re-release of episodes 2 and 3 next year. I would say episode 2 on Valentine's Day 2025 to fit the love story, and then Revenge of the Sith in May of 2025 for the 20th anniversary. That's going to do gangbusters. I'm just going to tell you right now. A lot of people love Revenge of the Sith. So, with Phantom Menace, I would recommend it. If you are a Star Wars fan, go see it again. A lot of people are going to see it just to spite the sequel trilogy. But I had a good time with it. You'll have a good time with it. It's a good thing for the families to celebrate Star Wars. Start with the beginning, which was ironically the original title. And I'd give this a good 7.5, 7.9 out of 10. I had a good time with it. I would recommend seeing it, see where it all began. And if you're new to Star Wars even, I'd say this is a good place to start. Go see episode 1, the first one, in theaters right now. You can start becoming a fan right away. So let me know your thoughts briefly on the Phantom Menace in the comments below. Don't forget to support our Patreon. And we're going to come back to more of these down the line. And there will be a BigJackFilms review of the Phantom Menace. The whole prequel trilogy is coming. I am still working on it. We're still filming it. We still have things to work on, but it's getting pretty good. We're getting pretty good at what's happening with this, and I think you guys are really going to enjoy it. So until the next video, guys, like, comment, subscribe. I'll see you guys later. This is BigJackFilms signing off, saying, may the Force be with you. You saw people gonna die. Yippee. Now this is pod racing. I don't know. Go see Phantom Menace. It's a fun time. And until next time, take it easy, and may the 4th be with you, even though it's been passed. I don't know. I'm done. Bye, guys.